Can you imagine walking into a restaurant hungry, tired, and full of hope, only to be humiliated and thrown out just because of the color of your skin? That's exactly what happened to 17-year-old Malik. But what no one knew is that someone was watching. And just hours later, a black SUV would pull up outside that same restaurant, changing Malik's life forever. This is a story about injustice, but also about what happens when kindness shows up, uninvited, unexpected, and unbelievably powerful. It was a cloudy Friday afternoon in Atlanta, the kind of gray that hangs heavy in the air. Malik Jefferson had just finished a long volunteer shift at the local community center. His sneakers were scuffed. His shirt was still damp from cleaning out a broken water pipe. But he didn't complain. He was always the first to arrive, the last to leave. Quiet helper in a loud world. Today was special. Malik had just gotten his first paycheck from a part-time job tutoring younger kids in math. It wasn't much, but it was enough for something he hadn't done in months. He was going to treat himself to a meal. Proper one. He walked into Benson's Diner, a popular local spot with glowing neon lights and booths filled with families laughing over milkshakes and burgers. As soon as he stepped inside, the warmth of the room wrapped around him, and the scent of fried onions and sizzling bacon made his stomach growl. But not everyone was happy to see him. Behind the counter stood the manager, a middle-aged white man with a pressed uniform and a scowl that arrived before he did. Malik approached the hostess stand politely. "Excuse me, sir. Table for one, please." The manager narrowed his eyes, giving Malik a slow once-over, eyes pausing on his worn shoes and damp hoodie. "We're full," the manager snapped, even though 2 booths were clearly open. "I don't mind waiting," Malik said quietly, smiling. "I said we're full," the manager repeated louder now. Customers began turning their heads. Malik swallowed his pride and took a step back, confused. "Okay. I just wanted a burger." That's when the manager stepped forward, his voice now sharp enough to cut glass. "Young man, I don't know what you're doing here, but this isn't that kind of place. Go on, move along." There was a long silence. Malik looked around, searching for a friendly face. No one met his eyes. The shame burned deeper than hunger ever could. He turned and walked out slowly, head down, heart pounding in his chest. Across the street, inside a sleek black SUV with tinted windows, sat a woman in her mid-40s. Her name was Valerie Morgan. She had just flown in from Chicago for business. A high-powered executive in a tech firm, Valerie had money, respect, and scars that no one could see. She had once been that kid. Ignored. She'd come to Benson's Diner after hearing great reviews. But as she watched the scene unfold across the street, her appetite vanished. Her hands trembled slightly on the steering wheel as she watched Malik leave the restaurant. His shoulders slumped. Something in her heart cracked open. Without thinking, she started the engine. Malik was sitting on a bench down the street, trying to steady his breathing. The paycheck in his pocket now felt worthless. That's when the SUV pulled up beside him. The window rolled down. "Hey, you okay?" the woman inside asked gently. Malik blinked, startled. Yeah, I'm fine." "No, you're not," she said, stepping out of the vehicle. She walked over and sat on the bench beside him, ignoring the strange looks from passers-by. "My name's Valerie," she said. "I saw what happened in that diner. That wasn't right." Malik hesitated. "It's nothing. Happens sometimes." Valerie turned to face him, her eyes filled with both rage and compassion. "That doesn't make it okay." There was a pause. Malik let out a shaky laugh. "You ever just wanna disappear?" Valerie nodded slowly. "Every day when I was your age." Malik turned toward her now, really seeing her for the first time. And for the first time in weeks, someone truly saw him. Valerie smiled. "Come on. I know a better place. No racism served there." He hesitated, then nodded. 15 minutes later, they were seated at a cozy little bistro Valerie knew well. The staff greeted her by name, treated Malik like royalty. He ordered a burger, And when it arrived, he almost cried. Valerie watched him, then leaned forward. "You're smart," she said. "You held your composure back there. That's power." Malik shrugged. "I just didn't want to make a scene." She smiled. "That's strength. Do you have plans for college?" He laughed bitterly. I dream about it. But dreams don't pay tuition." Valerie leaned back. "What if I told you? I might be able to help." Malik stared. "Why?" "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing," she said. "And because people like that man in the diner don't get to decide your worth." In the weeks that followed, Valerie did more than just promise help. She delivered. She introduced Malik to a network of professionals, mentors, financial advisors, and college counselors. She helped him apply for scholarships, wrote personal letters of recommendation, even arranged for a part-time job at her firm. Malik thrived. He started speaking at youth events, sharing his story. And each time he spoke, he carried himself taller, stronger. But Valerie's kindness didn't stop there. One evening, she invited him to a gala, a charity dinner for underrepresented youth. Malik showed up in a crisp new suit she had bought him, nervous and wide-eyed. As he walked through the elegant ballroom, he suddenly stopped. At the corner table sat the manager from Benson's diner. He was now a server catering for the event. Their eyes locked. The manager's face drained of color. Malik didn't say a word. He simply nodded and walked past with dignity. Months later, Malik got accepted into Howard University with a full scholarship. On the day of his flight, Valerie handed him a small gift box. Inside was a silver compass. She smiled. "Because no matter where you go, I want you to always find your way home to yourself." Tears welled up in his eyes. "I'll never forget you," he whispered. Valerie shook her head. "You'll forget me eventually. But you won't forget who you are now." They hugged tightly like mother and son. As the airport doors closed behind him, Valerie turned back to her SUV. The same one that had pulled up beside a broken boy. Now it drove off, leaving behind a future that had just begun. Sometimes it just takes one person pulling over, one act of kindness, to change a life forever. Malik's story reminds us that injustice doesn't get the final word. Kindness does. If this story touched your heart, even for a moment, please like, comment, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments, what's the kindest thing a stranger ever did for you? Stick around for our next story, because next time, a homeless girl picks up a dropped wallet and unknowingly saves a billionaire's life. Until then, remember, your kindness might be someone else's turning point.